The frog is doing the dishes. 안녕하세요, 여러분. How's it going, everybody? So today, I wanted to start a new series where I review some of the computer programs and smartphone applications that I have used over the last 3 years or so in order to try and learn as much Korean and even a few other languages as possible. I've tried many different programs and I've had mixed results with a lot of them. When you look at the reviews for most of these programs, they're usually not all that informative. And also often when you do find a review, it's from someone who was sponsored by the actual program itself, and they will have a little affiliate link at the bottom. So they're just trying to sell you the program. They're not actually interested in telling you how useful the program actually is. So I wanted to make this series so that I could give as unbiased of an opinion as possible on all of these different programs. And I want to give you as good of an idea of what utility each of these programs could serve in a balanced language study program. I figured that I should start with Duolingo, firstly because it's the program that I have the most experience with. I've used it for over a year. I don't even use it anymore, but I have a lot of experience with it. And also it's probably the most popular language learning program out there, other than maybe Rosetta Stone. Those two are kind of the top, and then it kind of goes down from there. I'll make a Rosetta Stone review soon as well, but for now, I'm going to start with Duolingo. Now this is my first time making a review, and I may miss some things, and I'm expecting to probably eventually come back and remake this once I have a better understanding of how to make these kind of reviews. But hopefully, this should give you a good idea of what exactly Duolingo is, and how useful it will actually be for your language learning ambitions. So, without further ado,
let's just jump into it.
So the first question that needs to be answered is, what exactly is Duolingo? Duolingo is both a website and a smartphone app in which you translate sentences in order to learn language. For instance, you can see here, it takes this sentence, I study joyfully, and then it gives you a word bank of Korean words, and you have to write I study joyfully in Korean. So that would be 즐겁게 공부해요. And then you do the same thing on the next question. So magpies are noisy. 같이는 noisy. 시끄럽습니다. And that would be the entire sentence. And this time, instead of translating from English to Korean, I am now translating from Korean to English. So the children 시끄럽게 play noisily. In this case, instead of having the sentence written, there is a computer voice to read out the sentence to you, and you have to listen and then write down what it said.
영화가 즐거워요.
So 영화가 즐거워요. Now what happens if you get the wrong words in here? So let's just say I just wrote 조용하, 조용해요. Now I know that's incorrect, and it will give you, oh, that was wrong. Then you have to click continue, and it will pull this one up again later. And then sometimes it will also offer you a multiple choice question like this one. Do it quietly. So you'll go through a whole set of sentences like this. It usually takes maybe 3 or 4 minutes to get through a whole lesson. Once you finish the lesson, it will play that little sound and you get 10 XP points. If it's your first time doing a lesson, you can get a bonus of up to 5 more XP points. Now what these XP points are for is working toward your daily goal. You can set a daily goal of a certain amount of XP points right here. So you can go basic, which I don't know what the difference between basic and I don't know how you would get 1 XP. I don't think you can get less than 10, so I don't see what the difference between basic and casual would be. But then you can go for regular 20 XP, serious 30, and insane 50 XP per day. Like I said, most lessons are going to give you 10 XP, and then if it's your first time doing one, you can get up to 5 bonus. So if you did 4 brand new lessons and you happen to do really well on all of them, you could get your insane XP in 4 lessons, or you could get your serious XP in 2 lessons. There's no way to get regular in less than 2 lessons, and there's no way to get casual in less than 1. I don't know what the basic, this is something new. I've never seen this basic, so I don't know what I don't know how you would get less than 10 XP. Now, as you continue to meet your daily goal, it will give you a learning streak. Now, as you can see right here, I only have a 1-day streak because I haven't been using this program for probably a couple of months. But it can serve as a good motivating factor if you want to try and get a really long streak. In fact, in my own experience, at one point I managed to get over a 100-day streak. An interesting part of the daily goals is that you can join groups with other people and compare yourselves to others and kind of compete. So it gives you a bit of a motivation to continue practicing every day. Something that I just found out is that you can't actually access these groups on the desktop version. It's only on the mobile version, which is kind of weird to me. So on the desktop version, it looks like you can only compare yourselves against other friends. So you could, say, find friends on Facebook and make a group with all of your friends who are using Facebook, or send an invite to a specific person or something, I don't know. So if you have a bunch of friends and you're all trying to learn a language together, then I guess you can have a little group together on the desktop version. Although I don't know if I'd really use Duolingo as a desktop program anyway. I think it works better as a smartphone app. Another aspect of Duolingo is that you gain in-app currency called lingots. That's what these are right here. You use them to buy things in a shop. For instance, you can buy a streak freeze, which allows you to go 1 day without actually doing the program, and it won't put an end to your learning streak. You can double or nothing, where you have to complete 7 days in a row and then you get 10 lingots out of it instead of 5. This is something new since I've been using it. See how well you're practicing. So I guess you get to time your practice. Interesting. And then in some languages, here, let me pull up German. In German, you can buy some extra skills. Oh, I haven't even talked about the skills yet. So let's go home. So in here, you can see all of the different lessons. So it takes all of those little lessons that I had showed you earlier, and it puts them together in groups like this. So if you haven't studied this topic yet, like here are the new topics, you can click on that, and there you can see there's 4 lessons in this group, there's 4 in this group. There's different numbers of lessons, like this one only has 1, that one has 3, that one has 2. So each of these different topic bubbles will have a different number of lessons within it. And then you can see this number on the side. That's kind of changed a little bit since the last time I used the program. Here, let's go back to Korean because I think it shows it better there. Oh, okay, that's a much easier way to transition. So you can see on here, there's this yellow bar, and that yellow bar tells you your strength in the language, or in that particular language skill. So like this one's halfway up. Most of mine are at 0 strength because I haven't used the program in a really long time, but I've been using a few of these in preparation for this review, so that's why there's a little bit more yellow on some of these. That's there to give you an idea of when you should go back to cover topics that you had already gone through. If I had been using this program more steadily, then a lot of these would be at full bars, and then some of them would be slightly reduced. And if you can get all of them filled up, then you get achievements. So let's go to the achievements section. So in here, we have a different amount of achievements. So like here, I maintained a 30-day streak. I got the full. There's different levels of each achievement. So there's a 1-star, 2-star, 3-star. The first one is probably like a 5-day streak, and then a 10-day streak, and then a 30-day streak or something like that. Then there's complete a certain number of skills of a course. There's have a certain number of friends, which I don't have any friends in my personal life who are learning languages currently, so I don't have anyone to be friends with on Duolingo. And then spend a certain number of lingots. So that's another thing to give you a little bit of motivation, is to try and complete all of these achievements. Now let's talk about how useful this program is for the 4 different language skills. The skill that this program is going to be most useful for in your learning is probably the reading skill, but it's still not all that great because all you're doing is translating between one language to the other, so I'm only going to give it a 6 out of 10 on that. Writing, it gives you an opportunity to some extent to practice writing, so maybe a 4.5 or a 5 out of 10 for the writing skill. And then it has occasional moments when you can listen and then click on the words to match what you heard. So maybe a 2 on the listening skill, and I'm gonna give it a 1 on the speaking skill because there's nothing in here that helps you with speaking. And now let's talk about my personal take on Duolingo. Now, first of all, instead of having pre-written sentences, Duolingo generates sentences for you. The result of this is that it comes up with some really weird sentences a lot. For instance, when I first started this video, I showed you one where it said, "The frog is doing the dishes," and also, "I have a very long banana." And this one might not look too bad when you first look at it, but what it literally says, "사람을 먹봅시다." And the literal translation of that would be, "Let's try eating a person." I don't know why it would be giving me that kind of a sentence. Also, this gives me absolutely no context within which to understand these words. It's just a translation from one language to another. And when you're learning a language as different from English as Korean, just working off of translations does not give you any useful information. English and Korean frame their sentences much differently from each other, and just because you know a specific word doesn't mean you're going to know how to use it without a broader context that this program just does not provide. Because of that, I have almost no retention of any of the words that I've learned from Duolingo. Now, like I said, I managed to maintain over 100-day streak, but in that time, I don't really feel like I learned much, and I feel like the only reason I was doing it was to maintain the streak because it made me feel good as if I was working hard on something, but I don't think that it was actually giving me the information that I wanted it to. In my personal opinion, I think there are just much better programs to give you everything that Duolingo does in a format that you will actually be able to retain the information from. Now, if you're going for a language that is very similar to your own native language, like if you're an English speaker and you're trying to learn a Romance language or maybe Dutch or even potentially German, then this app might be a little bit better for you than for people who are trying to learn more distant languages from their own native one. But even then, there are better programs out there than this one. So what roles can this program serve in a balanced language learning program? Well, if you're looking to learn how to translate from one language to another, like say you're taking a book in their language and you're trying to turn it into your language or vice versa, this would give you the tools for that purpose pretty well. And if you're really struggling to get the motivation to study every day, then this might be something that can give you that little bit of motivation, like you're just trying to get that streak going and you're trying to compete with your friends or with people in a random online group. But other than that, I don't really see the utility of Duolingo in a balanced language learning curriculum. So now the question is, would I recommend it? And I guess if you don't have any money to spend, you're looking for something that's completely free, then Duolingo might be one of the better options out there. But there are other free applications out there that I think actually provide better utility than Duolingo itself. And maybe if you're just going to try a language and see if you like it or not, then it might be okay to try and look at it through the framework of Duolingo. And like I said a little bit ago, if you're having trouble maintaining the motivation to keep going, then it could give you a little bit of exposure in a quick and easy package. But for most people, I wouldn't really recommend using Duolingo. I don't think it's all that useful, honestly. There is just much better software out there than what you're going to get from Duolingo, and even a lot of the better software is still free. And if you have even just a little bit of money to invest towards a language learning program, then there are way better options out there for learning different languages. Anyway, that was my first language learning application review. Please let me know in the comments if you agree with everything I said or if you think that I might have missed something important. If you like this review and you'd like me to continue making more reviews, please leave me a like down below. And if you like this review and want to see more content like this, like more reviews and maybe even my vlog series, please subscribe to my channel and click that little notification bell. And until next time, 안녕히 계세요, 여러분!